What's up, ladies and non-ladies? It is Serial Killer back again with some TOA action for you this time. I had gotten a couple requests about TOA 100 hard with the male boss, and I went to refer someone to a video because I thought I had posted one and I realized I had not. For some reason I recorded a video 2 or 3 or 5 or some amount of months ago when I first killed this guy, but I never posted the actual video itself. So I've changed things around a little bit. This recording that you're watching right now is what I did this month of October 2016. At the end, I might show you what I did the first time. It's technically a little bit maybe safer, at least on the boss levels, but it's definitely less safe on the trash. But this particular team is so much faster. This is the way to do it. Really, the main difference here is bringing in the Gildong, for the more or less unlimited stuns on trash, and then kind of more importantly, or at least more time saving related, would be the armor break on the boss itself. My first TOA hard male clear, the start to finish from the start of wave 1 to the end of the boss, was like 60 minutes or 65 minutes. It was basically an hour. It was very, very long. This one right here is probably about a third of that. The armor break insanely speeds everything up. The last boss heals every time you hit him, so being able to increase your per hit damage insanely scales with less time needed. I was using the same two damage dealers on my first kill, a TOA and a Spectra, and I would definitely recommend to bring both of them if you have both of them. My first kill had Mav in here instead of the Gildong. At the time, my Gildong was 5-star, level 35, and he was just too squishy to bring to the last boss. I ended up 6-starring Gildong kind of for two reasons, and ended up getting a nice third benefit for free without actually realizing it. My main concern was increasing his hit points and getting him to survive Leo. Now, some of you may know, but Leo Ragdoll TOA hard level is like the bane of my existence. I still don't have a perfect way to clear it, and Gildong is still in the works for that answer. And now with Gildong as a 6-star, Leo can hit me with a torrent and it can crit. Torrent is Leo's big damage ability, by the way, and it won't one-shot my Gildong. It'll take him really low, but it won't one-shot him. With my old 5-star Gildong, if Leo crit on his torrent, it would kill me before I got to move, and then I just had to start all over. And I ignore, or I bypass that bit of RNG by having him 6-starred. The second benefit that I had planned for was Julton. It's not quite as big of an issue for me as the Leo Ragdoll, but the Julton stages can be really shitty if Gildong goes on a crit spree, and having the extra hit points really helps quite a bit on the Julton reflex. And the third benefit that I had not realized, but is actually glorious, is I was using Veramos in my TOA auto teams, like when I auto the lower, easier levels, and now that I've got Gildong 6-starred, he's sturdy enough to where I can leave him in on that job as well, and he stuns just so much better than Veramos. It lets me auto much farther before I have to switch to my manual team, which is not a planned thing, but that alone is super worth it. All in all, 6-starring Gildong, although many will say it's unnecessary, I think that's one of the most efficient fodder I've done. I've 6-starred a lot of monsters for testing, and maybe it wasn't quite worth it. That one was super great. I would do it 1,000 times over. Alright, now that we've gotten to the scary part, I've slowed things down to 1x speed so we can concentrate on what we need to do here. Now this is actually my second attempt with a Gildong. The first one did not do what I wanted it to, and I think I know why, so I will explain what I'm doing as we go through this one, and will help you save that first attempt. My first attempt, I came in here and basically tried to keep the right tower and the boss from moving, and then partway through I decided I wasn't able to do that, so I was going to have to let the right tower go. But I had already stacked a bunch of taunts and useless debuffs on the right tower. You see in this one I've got an attack break on the right tower that really shouldn't be there. But the goal now is going to be to just kind of live with the fact that the right tower is going to go at least once. And I want to try to stack enough dots on the right tower so that it only goes once. I've got it armor broken. I've got it slowed. I shouldn't have put that attack break on it. Now I am going to try to fill it with dots and then get the boss to like 0 attack bar and let the tower go and hopefully not proc a boss turn. And then I'll fill it back up with dots, and I'm hoping that that second round of dots will kill the right tower before it actually gets a turn. Now with this team, I can probably survive a couple boss hits, like the big scary AoE. It's not going to one-shot anyone. It will probably almost kill, the Gildong, the Spectra, probably the Hua, and the Baretta. It would probably murder pretty much everyone but Basalt, but we're gonna see that, because the plan here is to stack this right tower full of dots and then let it go off. And unfortunately, most likely, when the right tower goes off, the boss is going to as well. Really, the only way you're going to let the right tower go off and not let the boss go is if you stack a turbulence on the boss either right before or right after that right tower goes. And with this particular team, I'm not so much worried about the boss going one time. What you need to avoid completely is the boss having like 95% attack bar and the right tower having like 90% attack bar, because then you could end up with the boss going and then the tower resurging the boss and the boss going a second time, and that is what's going to kill your team, even if it's relatively tanky. It's possible to build one tanky enough, but I don't know that you're going to make a Hua tanky enough to do that, nor a Baretta. And then if you pull those two out, your first 2 trash waves are going to take 9.5 months. It would be a totally different type of team. And the big distinction there between the boss getting 1 turn or the boss getting 2 turns is a lot more than just double the damage. The boss has 2 abilities. He has an auto attack that doesn't really do a whole lot, and he has an AoE attack that hits really hard and breaks your armor. So if you let the boss go on his normal turn and hit you with the AoE and break your armor, and then the tower resurges him and lets him use his auto attack into someone that has an armor break, it'll probably kill them, especially if it's a relatively squishy target like a Baretta or a Gildong or a Hua. So that is what we are going to try to avoid at all costs. The boss has kind of a really nifty passive. You can debuff him with any debuff. Slow, attack break, armor break, taunt, branding, anything you want you can stick on him. But it will only really do anything when it's not his turn. At the beginning of the boss's turn, he will cleanse all the debuffs off of himself and get stronger for each one that he does. So the things like armor break and attack speed slow are great to put on the boss, because those will work while it's your turn. Things like taunt and attack break are a total waste. In fact, they're worse than a waste. They are harmful to put on the boss, because the boss will cleanse both of them before it's his turn, so he will not actually get taunted and he will hit you full attack power, but he will actually gain power from the debuffs he pulls off. So you want to leave at least one tower up so that you can hit it with things that do auto attacks that put up debuffs you don't want on the boss. My Basalt should not hit the boss the entire time. I don't want Gildong to auto attack the boss the entire time. I'm totally okay, and in fact I want slow on the boss, and then as soon as I start hitting the boss, I want an armor break on the boss. Right now I'm focusing on putting damage on that right tower, and technically I'm trying not to put damage on the left tower. Although a lot of those dots are just going up with Baretta and they're really not under my control. I want to keep the left tower as a punching bag for Gildong and Basalt to auto attack when I don't want them putting a debuff on the boss. Now, slightly less important, but along the same thing, is that I don't want Baretta auto attacking the boss because the boss will heal every time you hit him, and Baretta does little tiny damage. So you see right there, that worked perfectly. The tower got its turn off, took a ton of damage, gave the boss his turn, and then the boss hit me with his big scary death AoE, and now they're both left with very low attack bars. So now at this point I just need to keep the boss's bar and the right tower's bar low, get my team healed back up, which will take a few heals from Basalt, but it'll happen eventually, and then get enough dots on that right tower so that the right tower doesn't actually get to go again. Once I fill it with dots, I'll let it take its turn, but I want it to die from dots before it actually gets to do anything. That way I don't get the boss to get any more resurges, and if all things go well, the boss shouldn't get any more turns. Now, unless Hua does some magic right here, which she did not, the boss might actually get a regular turn right now. Maybe Basalt can stop it. Cool. Basalt kicked it back. Let's hit him with a turbulence. Alright, so now we're out of that danger zone. I think I've got enough dots on this right tower to kill it. I'm a little worried it's like right on that borderline. So we're going to keep pumping damage into this right tower, and meanwhile trying not to debuff the boss with anything that we don't need on there. The slow is really all we want on there right now because we want him slowed, not really hitting him, so I don't care about getting an armor break on the boss yet. And I'm thinking we're probably safe on that right tower. I might keep hitting it just because why not, but I think we have enough dots to kill that thing. We are full on debuff, so I can't put more dots on him, but I can keep punching it with the Spectra. So we'll go ahead, we'll knock its attack bar down a little bit more. I think we probably let it go from here on out. So we'll notice the Basalt is punching that left tower every time. I actually made a mistake in the very beginning and had my Gildong auto attack the right tower. You don't want that because then that's just one attack break, and if he crits, the glancing debuff on the tower, and you can only have 10 debuffs on anything. So for every debuff that isn't a dot on that right tower, you're limiting the amount of damage you can do from dots, and you don't want the tower to live through a second turn. If you only do enough damage with dots to take away 40% of its life, the tower will get 2 turns and die on its 3rd turn. Our goal is to let it have 1 turn and die on its 2nd turn, which at this point I'm basically 100% sure that right tower is dead. We've got an armor break on the boss, and it's time to start pumping into him. Now pretty much all of the boss damage here is coming out of my Spectra. The Hua does do enough damage to damage the boss, more than the boss will heal, but it's not some huge noticeable amount. So we're just going to very slowly make sure we're managing all our attack bars properly. Try to keep this boss from moving. I'd prefer to not have to take another hit, although I'm pretty sure we can take another hit. We just don't want to take 2 in a row. And as soon as that right tower dies, then we're basically immune, or it's not possible for the boss to take to hit us twice in a row. And that's when we, as soon as that right tower dies, that's when the champagne bottle gets popped open. We've pretty much won at that point. We're going to be a little overzealous with that attack bar. I have, quote unquote, more attack bar knockback than I need, but I want to keep his bar low in case we get some crappy resists. Like right there, he didn't get knocked back by Spectra. He did get knocked back by Basalt, which was great, and then we got a violent proc on Basalt. We're getting all the great things to happen here. You'll notice I'm no longer knocking the attack bar back on that right tower with Hua, but I'm still doing my knockback with Basalt and my knockback with Spectra, which is landing fucking amazingly. And you'll notice the right tower hasn't got a turn in a long time. I'm not actually trying to do that. I want that right tower to go. I want it to die. I want it to get off my screen and then kind of, at that point, be sure that it's done. Right now, I'm pretty sure it's dead, but it's still, looming right there. Cool. It's gone. We win. We just need to not screw up at this point. We want to keep hitting the boss with Hua to knock its attack bar back. We want to keep hitting it with Spectra's number 2 to actually do the damage and kill it. And then preferably we don't get the left tower to go, just so that it doesn't die. At this point, I've done a decent enough job keeping it from going and not putting dots on it with Spectra, where the left tower could actually go at this point probably twice without dying, so I have way more leeway than I need. If you accidentally kill this left tower, then you end up having to hit the boss with all of your monsters, which is going to do two things. One, if you do let the boss take an actual turn, the boss is going to get much stronger by absorbing the attack break, the glancing, and the taunt that Gildong and Basalt will be putting on him for no reason. In addition to that, if you'll notice, every time I hit the boss with something, you'll see a red number go up, or an orange number, and a green number. That's because every time you hit the boss, he heals. And if you hit him for a relatively small number, say a Basalt auto attack, he will heal for more damage than you do. So if you kill that left tower, you will literally, heal the boss for a little bit every time it's Basalt's turn and every time it's Gildong's turn. Hua does a little bit of damage, but it's barely noticeable. Spectra's number 2 is the only one that goes off and you see the boss bar move a lot. You just saw Hua go right there. The bar does move, but it would take ages to kill with using a Hua. The Spectra is the lifeblood of this team. The Spectra was also all the damage on my first kill, the team I've used 2 or 3 times at this point to kill this guy. But this is the first time I've had an armor break in here. And when you see the Spectra crit on the boss, it moves it a decent amount, but it does not, watch right here. That was a small chunk. That was 5-ish% life. Without an armor break, it's that much smaller. And that's why, this kill takes, 25 minutes, and my team with Mav in here in place of Gildong takes 65 minutes. It's insane how much time gets cut out of the run just by bringing that armor break. Aside from that, waves 1 and 2 are way safer with a Gildong in here because you can just stun everything the whole time. The one advantage, if you try doing this team that you're seeing right now and you're saying to yourself, man, I am just the tiniest bit of speed or attack bar knockback away from keeping the boss and the towers under control, putting Mav in here in place of Gildong will get you that speed. He does 2 things. One, he gives you an attack speed boost, so all of your monsters will go faster, and he lowers the cooldown, so Spectra and Basalt will be able to knock down, and Baretta for that matter, will be able to knock down attack bars more easily. In my first kill, that was probably 4 or 5 months ago, so I've got a, at least somewhat weaker runes on those ones. The boss did not move a single time. I kept all the towers up, I kept the boss up, I just CC'd everything forever. And I had, quote unquote, more CC than was needed. The extra jump from Mav vastly improves the possibility of this team. What you lose by taking Mav in place of the Gildong is the armor break and an insane amount of efficiency. It literally takes like at least twice as long to kill this dude without the armor break in there. And you notice this is a really long fight even with the armor break. Something you gotta pay attention to. You can't get, into this 15% phase right here and then tunnel vision on punching the boss in the face and screw something up and suicide the team. It's very easy to be like, oh my gosh, he's almost dead, and just start pushing buttons randomly, not paying attention, or skip a cooldown just by a little bit because you're trying to cut 30 seconds off your clear. It's not worth it. It's to the point where you kind of have to take a breath and just be like, what, calm down, think straight. I got 5 more minutes. Let's kill this guy. I played WoW for a decent amount of time, and that's kind of where the tunnel vision thing first came about. You get a boss low, and then you just stop doing the mechanics, and then you die. And then you start all the way over. So you end up, wasting 40 minutes because you got excited and tried to cut another minute or two off your kill. It's not worth it at all. So yes, it looks like it's won at this point, but don't just go, oh, I've won, and throw out the plan here. You'll notice I just let that left tower move, which is kind of indicative of exactly what I told you. I've got tons of extra room here because that tower might even be able to go again before it dies. But at the same time, in the beginning, I didn't let that left tower go at all, and I obviously slipped a little bit going, screw it, the boss is almost dead. I'm hitting the boss with Hua, trying to squeeze out a couple extra damage instead of hitting that left tower with Hua. I'm probably using the Spectra nuke on his number 2 a little bit more often, and maybe not using the number 3 on every turn because I have so much extra attack bar knockback. You want to be real careful with stuff like that. Could get you in a bad spot. And we now have a dead TOA 100 hard boss. So we're going to celebrate. I'll show you guys the runes. Then we're going to open up these scrolls and get something really shiny. And my neighbors are going to be pissed off because I'm going to be so excited about whatever I pull here. Notice all the purple runes. You guys see that shit all the time on me. And it's because I change my runes a lot on free rune removal day based on what I'm trying to do. And you'll see that blue rune on Spectra right here. And it's because, someone needed the rune that he had, to hit a certain breakpoint. I had to have, Tessarian faster than my Theomars, and I needed that speed. Whereas, on Spectra, if he's 210 or 230, it's all, doable. There's not so much of the hard numbers needed with TOA, whereas, in PvP, you might need an exact speed. You might need someone to be 185, and 183 is not good enough. So my TOA team particularly, they get kind of shafted on runes. I steal runes from them a lot. And then they get these unused, unpowered up runes, and that's why you see all that stuff. Alright guys, let's... lightning on 2. Fuck yeah. So a water Horus, I got one of those already. Another lightning. Fucking Susanoo. Thank you. I actually really liked my Susanoo in the beginning. I got him super early, and I made great use out of him. God damn it. Ooh! Light Golem. I really want a Light Golem. We are going to make use out of that. Give me something pretty. Fuck you. I don't think I want that. Technically, I need something on my AD to scare people away, and maybe an Arnold will keep illusions away, but I don't I don't have any problem mowing Arnolds down. I don't think I'm gonna build that thing. I will build the light golem though. Very, very excited about that light golem. You guys have probably realized by now I have a thing for hit point and defense based monsters. I love the idea of the tanky beast monk type, you know, bruisers. Unfortunately, I don't have any beast monks. I tried to make do with all the nat 3s and 4s that are similar that I can get my hands on. Alright guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see what we can do with that light golem for you in the future. Have a good one.